Hello and welcome everyone. I am Ben the Bold, and we have been playing the Sicily Rises campaign for quite a while now, several days, and I'm really excited about how it's turned out. We've gone from Sicily, or two Sicilies rather, to the Empire of Italy, and now we might have our government start to falter as we are seeing revolution being fomented. Now, listen, we are role playing this as Francesco. He is struggling to live up to his father's mighty reputation. He has certain ambitions, and that is really just to be seen as good of a ruler as his father was. Now, in our last episode, that went disastrously wrong as he tried to invade Tripolitania and make it a protectorate. However, Great Britain got involved on the diplomatic play. Now he has some reputation rebuilding to be done, both at home and, unfortunately, abroad. We are going to go ahead and improve relations with Great Britain because we don't want them joining any fights against us again. We are also going to look to try to get our trade back up with Great Britain. We are going to need to fix our bureaucracy situation, which kind of fell apart in our last war. I'm going to go ahead and bring colonial affairs down to 1 just because, and that will fix our bureaucracy problem. We've kind of given up on colonies. We initially had a colony down here in Africa, but we traded it away to Russia in exchange for help in a war where we conquered Albania. Now, was that the right move? Probably not, but our father, he had a trait for like aggressive colonization, so we kind of role-played him as a colonizer who wanted to, carve out large sections of Africa for himself. However, his son, he is much more interested in the finer things in life. He has expensive tastes. He's also wrathful. He's also traditionalist. He's not interested in looking outside of Europe for territorial expansions, well, except for potentially into North Africa, as his father did. Again, he's trying to live up to his father's reputation, and honestly, so far, he is not succeeding. Anyway, we do have a revolution brewing for landed voting. Let's check out this event, Stochastic Terror. Following a recent bombing carried out by a radical supporter of the intelligentsia in Venetia, a copy of the works of Corrado Veranza. He has been at times a thorn in our side and at times a godsend in this campaign. I am enjoying how much I'm getting attached to some of the characters in this campaign. Anyway, a copy of the works of Corrado Veranza has been found in the possession of the responsible parties. All right. Well, we can say that the intelligentsia represent a menace to civil society that will hurt the Civil War progress, but it will also make the population more radical for landed voting, and Venetia gets 3% devastation. I don't really want that. Oh, they're going to get devastation either way. We can publicly criticize Verando calling for terrorism, as Verando calling for terrorism against innocents. I think I'm going to say that the intelligentsia are a menace to society. And in fact, I do want to take a look at our government. The intelligentsia, they are pretty weak, and they are absolutely revolting. I could increase my legitimacy a little bit more if I were to kick the industrialists out of government. However, I'm not actually interested in doing that. I am researching I should maybe go to compulsory primary school. That'll radicalize the landowners, but it increases our max investment in education, which is something that I do want a literate populace. Now, as you can see, as a result of that last war, our GDP did suffer worldwide. Oh, and now I'm getting a revolution to preserve child labor. And my landed voting has gone away. This is going to be an aristocratic revolution. Listen, I'm a member of the aristocracy. I didn't realize they were going to push back so hard. I'm not interested in going against my own people, and once again, a revolution. So pretty much anything, any kind of law change that we try to make is going to cause some kind of revolution, it does seem. And I mean, that's just because I mean, I could probably go with, well, that'll actually, I could go with propertied women, plus 5% worker ratio. I am starting to run out of workers for my factories, so I think I'm actually going to do that. We also have researched feminism, so this just kind of logically makes sense. Do I want to do this? Yeah, let's do it. And interestingly enough, the revolution to enact landed voting goes away when I try to enact propertied women. So, I mean, I don't know. Yes, that's good. All right, so we're going to try to placate the masses a little bit by just enacting some. We're going to give women more rights, which is always a good thing. And yeah, that will make people a little bit happier and less likely to want to revolt. So this is how we're going to politically maneuver ourselves around around our population saying, hey, we don't like the idea of an autocracy anymore. Oh, the German Empire sided with Gaza in a diplomatic play against France. Now, listen, we are hardly in a place to fight a new war. But here's the thing. Are we rivaled with France? We are rivaled with France, I do believe. They hate us. They stabbed us in the back. I think I might try to join this. Let's take a look. We will offer some support, and specifically, I want some war goals. I want something from France. What do I want? I could ask them to transfer French Senegal. That would give me lots of infamy, and they wouldn't accept it anyway, so I could ask them to liberate French Senegal. That is something they would do. French Senegal is a huge country. Here's the thing, I would like French Senegal, but Gaza does not want to do that. What do I want? I could have them revoke a claim. I could have them revoke the claim for Savoy. That wouldn't be the worst thing. Or the claim for Tunis. All right, so those are definitely things that I would accept. Ask for conquer state. Is there anything that I want? I mean, really, what I wouldn't mind is the Rhone. That is, I mean, kind of the heart of French industry, although I don't think, they're not going to give that up. French Indian Ocean territories. Is that like the Runyon Island? Yeah, right here. No, probably don't care for that. Although it would give us a naval base in the Indian Ocean, which could be cool and could allow us to expand into into Indonesia, where I don't think we would have to fight off quite as many European. I could also try to take Algiers or Iran. Ask for French Senegal to ban slavery. That's not terrible. I could try to just humiliate France. All right. Interesting. I honestly kind of think we'll get some infamy for it, but it'll go away really quick. I'm actually kind of leaning towards this tiny, small little island worth nothing in the Indian Ocean, just because it would give me potentially a forward operating base. Although, I don't know. How many people live there? There's 200,000 people living there. It's a fishing industry, so they get good fishing industry. Now, the French haven't actually built any fishing industry there. So I could build some fishing wharves, but I have plenty of that. I could also build some whaling stations, which I actually do need. And then from there, I could use that as an opportunity to expand, perhaps taking over Madagascar. That could be something that I look to do in the future. Madagascar has a really high literacy rate. And a pretty high GDP. What kind of resources do you have? Well, lots of whaling industry. All right. And they have coal. I need coal. And they have dyes. They have lots of dyes. So I could use that as a jumping off point. Of course, I can also just naval invade Madagascar as well. I mean, what I would love is French Senegal. Let's go back. I do think I'm going to throw my weight in with Gaza. I don't... Yeah, no, I definitely want war goals of some kind. Humiliating France would be just nice. Germany is already asking for... Let's see, what's Germany asking for? Germany is asking for both Rhineland... No, they are trying to return Rhineland. Germany's just asking for Alsace-Lorraine. Alright. Where is French Eastern New Guinea? Probably in New Guinea. Oh, just this little piece. I don't think that's really worth it. I could ask French Sahara for Timbuktu. I could try to expand into French Sahara. But I definitely need a coastal town. So I would do Windward Coast, maybe the Ivory Coast. Those are what they don't want to give up. Alright, so... I do want to be involved in this. I do want to be involved. I could ask for Sahara. French Sahara. Where is that? But again, not... I mean, is Constantine my best bet here? To try to take Algiers? Or do I just want to go for a humiliation and maybe have them revoke a claim? That might be what I actually want them to do. Oh, I could ask for them to liberate French Senegal. That would probably hurt them significantly. Plus, it would probably create a French Senegal that was sympathetic to the Italian cause. And it would hurt France significantly. I'm sure French Senegal is a colony that is generating lots and lots of resources for them. I mean, if we just take a look, yeah, I mean, it's definitely something. It's probably not as important as I was thinking. They have some motor industries down here. Really, it's the Windward and Ivory Coast that are most important, but really they haven't built out of it too much. Let's go back. Again, I do want to throw my weight in somewhere, but I want to make sure I get exactly what I want. What I really would like is for them to transfer the subject of French Senegal. That could put us absolutely back in the game in terms of the scramble for Africa, but it does not seem that they are going to be willing to do that. War reps would also be nice. Alright, I think I'm going to go ahead and say that I want them to... Could I have them liberate Algeria? No, I'm going to go ahead and say that I'm going to ask for them to liberate their subject. No. You know what? Let's do it. Let's ask for a conquer state. I am going to specifically ask for that little tiny area in the Indian Ocean. Is it worth losing probably 200,000 Italians for? No, no, it's not. But it's fun, and it'll allow us to potentially expand. And I understand that that's kind of a roleplay thing, because I know that I can send my navies all the way around the world and take over Indochina anyway, but this just feels more like, okay, you know, this is still a treacherous journey, right? And so to, you know, go under the Horn of, or under the Cape Colony is still a treacherous naval journey, so having a naval base on this side of the world to station our 3rd Italian fleet in to perhaps eventually take over the Marinia Kingdom, as well as push our influence into Indochina and then maybe even into the Far East proper in Japan, Korea, and China. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Plus, this would give me a port. I could start looking to take over some of the oil-rich areas in Arabia without having to go through Egypt, which is kind of what I was thinking I would have to do. Anyway, we're going to try this. I'm going to go ahead and bring our navy home for the time being. And we've tossed our... Well, they haven't said yes yet. I guess they have, actually. So we've thrown our lot in with the French. Let's go ahead and raise some troops. Let's make sure that we are in the... Yeah, no. Let's make sure that we're in the proper troop type. I think we are. Also, let's make sure we have enough conscripts. Why do we not... Let's add some more conscripts to this army. The war with France is going to be unfortunately, probably a bloodbath. Not that we haven't had enough of those. Alright, that's all of our conscripts. Let's go ahead and... Let's mobilize our army as well as call in the conscripts. We are going to need every man to defend Italy. I'm just going to mobilize... Nah, let's call the conscripts. We are full mobilization. Full tilt. Let's go. I'm going to send the 3rd Italian Army to our northern border. Now, I do think once our conscripts are called, we will not have this penalty anymore. However, the penalty comes from having... I believe the penalty comes from having more of the support type troops than your... Yeah, so really, if I just build 5 more... There we go. Now, we'd also want to take a look at our stances. We... well, alright, so our Emperor, again, he's trying to do some reputation building in Europe. He has been thoroughly embarrassed, so it makes sense that he would want to go and lead the assault into France. I'm actually going to give him the pillage order, as well as the cautious advance. Let's not go too heavily, let's not get too ahead of ourselves. I also need to make sure that France doesn't... Alright, they still are on skirmish industry. Do you know what? We are almost at trench infantry. And that would be absolutely huge. Now, I don't necessarily know if it is worth it to switch over in the middle of a war. I might intentionally hold, let's say, the 2nd Army back Yeah, I'm going to hold the second army back intentionally. And then once we get trench infantry, I'm going to upgrade the second army to trench infantry, and I'll start kind of filtering some men in and out. In the meantime, though, let us go ahead and move our kind of our historic this is the army of Sicily. So this is the army that unified the Italian peninsula. It has a very important history, so I'm going to go ahead and move it to the French front as well. Our GDP has absolutely skyrocketed. In fact, I think it's actually gone up 10 million just since the start of this episode, which is kind of insane. And we are back at number 5 in the world. Yeah, take a look at that little graph. We dipped during that last war, but we are back at it again. I do wonder what the French Navy looks like. They have 134 flotillas, although us combined with the German army, or the German Navy rather, I think are going to be just fine. We are upgrading our we are building more torpedo boats. Well, the naval bases have already been built. We just have to now actually create them. Speaking of, I want to make sure that I'm in the most advanced, which I am unfortunately not, which is silly of me. So now we should be able to, well, fight more efficiently. Propertied Woman has successfully progressed a phase. Good. Although I kind of worry that after Propertied Women goes away, we will once again be facing a revolt from those looking to enact landed voting. That's fine. We will deal with that if it comes. But right now, we do not have to worry about that. Alright, so we are officially at war with France, and we officially have probably a shortage. Let's make sure we don't have any shortages. Probably should have made sure of this before, but let's take a look. We have an excess of everything. We are looking pretty good. Let us fight those French. Now, we get started right away with a German assault over the Italian border and an Italian assault over the Italian border as well. What we really need to do is, or what our emperor really needs to do, is break out of the mountains. Now, that is going to be very difficult for him to do, but he does get a good roll, and we are starting to make some progress. If we can break out of the heavy mountain range in the Italian and French Alps, we do have a chance to absolutely steamroll over southern France and end this war fairly quickly. Alright, Equatorial Bantu students sometimes use their native language in Italian schools. Some have called for teachers to penalize the use of these languages, forcing children to speak the official language of Italy. Yes, schools should teach them to speak the proper language. And once again, we have a revolt brewing, this time for legal guardianship. So the Catholic Church is too strong. What's that revolt going to look like? All right, so it would be it would be all of Southern as well as our industrial base. It would be, I don't necessarily want to see that happen. Now, one of the reasons we are getting revolt after revolt is because our standard of living is super low. I could potentially look at trying to raise that by lowering taxes a bit. Yeah, let's just go ahead and create some fewer radicals. Sailors in Apulia have refused to embark for any voyages out of port. The scope of the mutiny calls for the delicate approach to the situation. We should detain the men and keep the incident contained to Apulia. That's going to create some radicals from the servicemen, but make our officers more loyal. We should force the men onto the ships, or we should try to talk with the sailors. I think we force the men onto the ships. We are at war. What are you doing? We are at war. Speaking of, let's go ahead and just raid some convoys in the Mediterranean. It appears that the French are going to concede naval superiority to the combined German and Italian armies, or navies. Meanwhile, Germany is looking like they are going to break the line of, this is French Senegal troops. However, this is interesting, they are being led by a brigadier general who is Benjamin Menendez, which does not sound like a French name to me. I'm assuming he is an agitator. He is trying to enact secret police, and he is actually Central American. Benjamin Menendez, how'd you end up over here? So if we take a look at our army specifically, we can see that we are actually having some success. We are, well, never mind. The Germans are having some success. Good for them. They have defeated the French Senegalese troops. How are the Germans doing in Alsace-Lorraine? That is the real question. I do think that between us and the Germans, we probably... Alright, so we did decrease our colonial administration. That does mean that we have more bureaucracy. We are back in the positives in bureaucracy, so that is good. We are getting revolt progress. Yeah, it is what it is. Pretty much any kind of law we pass, we're going to get some revolt on, so... Uh-oh, the landowners have demands. The landowners are on the precipice of a revolt, threatening to join the revolution if certain demands are not met. Alright, whatever satisfies the so-called dignity, let them have it. So I do think we're going to have to do that. We are a member of the landowners. These are our friends that are coming to us. And so, yeah, we are going to, unfortunately, need to acquiesce. Alright. So I think Francesco, he unfortunately had his confidence inflated a little too heavily when he led Italian troops in an absolutely stunning victory over the British as they tried to naval invade Lazio. Although I do think that perhaps the problem there is that the British were at a natural disadvantage as they were trying to land troops in Rome itself, which... Of course, we were going to be highly, not only ready to defend Rome, but also motivated to defend Rome. I think we are having a little bit more of a difficult time advancing over the Alps into France proper. Covert agitation. Revolutionary sympathizers have begun to agitate for anti-government causes in the barracks in Venice. Well, the armed forces must remain loyal to the state at all costs. That is extremely important. Let's go ahead and hit that. Dissenters break ranks. Uh-oh. That is going to hurt the enactment chance. I'm actually going to go ahead and... because I need this thing to either work or fail so that this revolution goes away. So I'm fine with the setback. That's fine. Hey, we now have trench works. Things are about to change significantly in warfare as we have invented trench infantry. Now what we need to do is, of course, upgrade our soldiers to trench infantry. I intentionally held an army in reserve to upgrade them to trench infantry, so I will look to do that right now. We have 86,000 men just sitting and standing by. Let's go ahead, upgrade them to trench infantry. I don't know if do the conscripts automatically upgrade to whatever infantry is in the army? I don't know. Okay, yeah, so it says we don't have any conscript trench infantry. I don't know. Anyway, we will upgrade these units to trench infantry. We'll see how long that takes. Oh, there it is. Let's go ahead and upgrade the conscripts as well. We will upgrade them. We are fighting a war, so I do feel like it is important to keep researching military tech. In fact, the submarine might actually be a pretty decent thing to research, as well as destroyers. Let's go ahead and just take a look. It's been a while since we researched anything in the production tech tree. We are currently researching pump jacks. I like that. Where are we in the society tech tree? We are getting there. Our literacy rate is looking real good, so we're... Yeah, I think I'm actually going to stay in the military. Ooh, I could go straight to defense in depth and get 10% army defense. Or I could go to the bolt action rifle. Or I could begin building destroyers, which actually I think that might be what I do. Because I've seen what happens if our Navy is not up to speed. It is time to get our Navy up to speed. Let us continue to do that. Now that I'm upgrading to trench infantry, we are going to use a lot more, I believe, munitions. So let's go ahead and probably build some new munition plants. I'm going to do that down here in Sicily. Where are our munition plants? Let's go ahead and build... Let's have them be publicly traded. We'll go ahead and put the rotary valve engine, and we have explosive shells. All right. And I'll go ahead and build 2 more. We are losing money like crazy. That's fine. The Feminine Order of Lombardy, a group of women affiliated with the Catholic Church in Lombardy, have founded an organization with the purpose of arranging medical and material support for anti-government revolutionaries. Okay. Now, come on. I'm trying to give women more rights. Alright, well, we cannot afford to make martyrs of these women. No, we can't, and I don't really want to crack... Alright, or we can crack down on the women's religious organizations. We can't afford to make martyrs out of these women. I also can't afford a revolution. How much will this progress on the next tick? By 10%, okay. It's not terrible. Alright, it looks like Francesco, barring tragedy, will actually win a battle. He's won a couple battles. And thankfully, we have moved into the adoption phase. So we do have the potential of passing this law pretty quickly. We sunk 560 convoys. We've sunk another 560 convoys. Alright, our convoy rating is working. The Amelia Workers Brigade. Let's see what that's about. Armed workers affiliated with the petite bourgeoisie progressive factions have volunteered to assist government forces in countering reactionary forces that would threaten Italy. Okay, we do need all the support we can get. If that lowers the revolution progress, that would be great. It unfortunately does not. So either way, we're going to get Civil War progress, but I'm going to say we can use all the support we can get. That's going to increase the petite bourgeoisie's power. That's fine. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to increase taxes. We'll start out relatively slow. Oh, do you know what I can do to help myself out a little bit? Let's go ahead and end the violent suppression. Let's get some more authority. Let's pass this law faster. So I really need it to work. It's got a 40% chance of working here. French Senegal is in default, likely to accept a peace deal. And here we go. All right, finally. Nope, never mind. I thought we were going to have a major Italian victory in the Battle of Toulon, but alas, French Senegal soldiers are dug in, and we are not. Are they working with trench infantry yet? I do not think so. They're still on skirmish infantry. Let's take a look at how our trench infantry men are doing. They have fully upgraded to trench infantry. Let's go ahead and move them to the front. Once they arrive, I will pull an army back. Now, they are on a defensive stance. Now, I think that is fine, but do I have any traits? Nope. I've got multiple defensive strategists. All right, I've got... Hey, he's an experienced artillery commander, so we'll put him on heavy barrage. And unfortunately, we lose that battle. Let's go ahead and pull off our... Second army is the one with trench infantry. Let's go ahead and, you know what, I'm just going to hit the buttons. I think that it will be fine. I don't think there are any penalties for upgrading during war. It doesn't say we lose any organization, so... When you have a hammer... Alright. When you have a hammer, everything's a nail, right? So General Damino? I don't know. Noting severe unrest in Venetia has proposed using the army to suppress agitation in the area. While his political allies support him, there is a heavy risk to following this plan. I do think that we must use the tools to solve the problems we have, and we got a good roll. We had a 33% chance of taking away revolution progress, and we did, so that is excellent. And hopefully we will pass propertied women on the next tick. With that said, though, it is unfortunately time for me to end it for today. We are at war with France. We once again have a revolution brewing. We have revolutions brewing anytime we try to pass laws at this point. But with that said, Emperor Francesco is trying to reclaim some of his honor and actually trying to win a major European war. We will see if he is able to do so in the next episode. I have been Ben the Bold, you have been you, and I hope you will join me on the next one.